At it again. I couldn't stay away. I guess I'm a little, I guess I'm enjoying this process now. Anyway, I thought I'd hop on here and, because I was thinking about, the topic of sobriety, and like, at first I was thinking about it. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything to say about it. Like, I just don't drink. Like, I live a clean and sober lifestyle. Like, what is there to talk about? Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems very, like, cut and dry to me. Then I was like, no, I think for me, like, I find those things, drugs and alcohol, well, first of all, I have to say that the category drug, what's considered a drug, legal or illegal in this society, changes all the time. And I think it goes way back. I think it even goes back to, like, when herbal medicine, it was, like, seen as witchcraft for women to use herbal medicine, women in particular. I think men could use it, and they were called doctors or I think it was generally a little more acceptable for men to be the ones in charge of administering the medicine, herbal medicine, and elixirs and things like that. And I think that women were persecuted and called witches. That was one reason that they were persecuted back in the day, for using herbal and natural medicines. And it was called, and they were killed for it. That's my personal opinion. So I think throughout history, what's considered a drug, I mean, even looking at today, just recently I know that in the state of Oregon and Washington, the laws have drastically changed around what's a controlled substance. Which like includes psychedelic mushrooms, which just grow outside in the woods. And you could be going for a hike and one could get stuck to your shoe, and you could be pulled over for speeding or for not putting on your blinker or whatever reason, and say that mushroom is seen on your shoe. Like, you could get, I mean, technically, by the order of the law, you could before have gotten a felony charge for that, depending on the cop, the mood of the cop, a variety of variables. Now, I'm not saying there doesn't need to be any law around it. That's not my point. I'm just expressing kind of the how variable some of that stuff is. But I think what's not variable is, like, people's idea of what drugs are, or what a drug addict or junkie looks like. It's like, as soon as people hear that word, that somebody uses drugs or got has a felony drug charge, for instance, it's really easy to get into this mode of putting them in a box of what that person associates with what a drug is, which I believe is such a variable term. I think, if you want to go back to the 80s, and, like, I don't remember what there was a really good, I can remember the main character, but there was something I watched on TV last year. It was a really good series. Anyway, I went into detail a little bit, but I took that part out because I'm not trying to get, like, too political, but yeah, check out that series. It's a good one, and I'll look it up and I'll put it here. This is fun. So I just think that initially stuff is considered okay because of, like, who uses it in society, and then there kind of becomes, like, that changes, and my personal opinion is that it's intentional. And so for me, choosing a clean and sober lifestyle is part of my journey of personal freedom from bigger systems. But anyway, moving on. So basically so that's kind of like a little bit about my beliefs around what a drug is and the way that is. But was thinking about it, and I think that there are all ways for us to cover up the painful emotions that we have, the shame, guilt, grief, suffering, whether it's like current in our day-to-day lives, or if it's, you know, based on stuff we've been through in the past. Drugs and alcohol for such a long time have been a way that people have used to numb that stuff or escape from it, and to cope or to prevent from like really dealing. And I would even argue that alcohol is a socially acceptable way of doing that. I got to a point in my life where I wanted to face the pain. I wanted to feel it. It was overwhelming, and the thought of escaping the pain and using alcohol or drugs or anything other than just feeling the pain felt like it was a waste of time, because the pain would still be there, and in fact I would end up having more to deal with after. Like, I have so many stories of when I used to drink that afterwards I was so embarrassed waking up the next day and remembering some of the stuff that I did or said. I think I just hit a point in my life where I didn't want to, where I don't want to escape from the pain and the suffering. Like, I realized I didn't really like the way it felt, because it was covering up who I like truly was, that I was getting in touch with. And these Uber chats. Yeah, I mean, I have learned, and I am continuing to learn to love myself and love who I am. Like, and so to do something that like greatly alters like that, like mentally, isn't something I'm seeking, because I like who I am. And I know there's people out there that, you know, drink socially, and like I used to be able to do that at a certain point in my life, or, you know, like it just, that's not who I am. Like, I'm a super intense person. I work hard and I play hard. So if I'm in play mode, I go to the extreme. Like, we are not having like 2 shots at the bar, we're having like 10, and then we're going to another bar. Like, I'm a super extreme person. I think probably you can see that from like my Uber driving, you know. And I think what I've been able to do is like redefine what playing is for myself. And so now play is like pushing myself, traveling, like working on creative projects, converting a van, you know, going on an adventure. That's the kind of stuff like that I do, and I don't need drugs or alcohol to kind of get the fun out of it. So I think I've changed my I've changed my idea of what play looks like and playing hard looks like, and I like this version, because usually I'm productive and I learn stuff from it and I grow through it. It's not like, oh, and then I wake up the next day and I feel all like ashamed or like embarrassed, proper word for it, by the stuff I've done. So hold on. And getting sober wasn't easy. Like, it wasn't easy because I had such a habit of it. But what made it easier was kind of like the determination just to go through what I was trying to escape from. And it was kind of like when I gave birth. Like, I gave birth twice. The first time I tried to escape the pain. And I was at home and I had a home birth. And it was like really, I was trying to escape the pain. And I just remember like actually and I was doing anything to get away from that pain, or anything in my power during the birthing process. And then, so I thought about that before having my second son, and I had a whole different vision. And so I was in the hospital, but I didn't have any pain medicine. And I remember telling myself, I've got to go through the pain. I've got to go through it. Like, there's no way around it. I've got to go through it. And I did, and it was so much easier. And which they say a second birth often is, but whatever. Anyway, enough about that. So to go through the pain, I think, is what helped me get sober. I think, you know, I just put everything aside and was like, I'm gonna just deal with this. And it meant kind of isolating myself and grounding into the things that really just helped with my peace of mind. You know, being home a lot and cooking good foods and reading books and slowing down and taking life really easy, and not worrying too much about anybody else or what they thought, or yeah, I had to, you know, let a lot of stuff go. And I can tell you, getting on the other side of that, like getting through a lot of that pain, I'm still working through some of it, but it's so liberating. And that feeling of like really knowing myself and loving myself, I wouldn't want to change that. Like the thought of like having a drink is like not even appealing, or the thought of like trying to use drugs or alcohol or anything like that, it doesn't even appeal. Like, you know, sometimes I don't even want coffee because I could tell, like, I'm like, after. And, you know, I do like coffee. A coffee is considered a drug too, I think, by some people. So again, like, our definition of what a drug is like so variable, but yeah. Yeah, and I think I mean, it's really, it's not easy work, but it's well worth it, well worth the journey. And you know, I think then life presents you with people, as you get to know yourself and really know who you are and your values, you naturally align with the people that are in line with that. And because you're like so true to yourself and you're resonating that out in the world, then it gets reciprocated, and it's like you begin to like align with other people, kind of on a similar path and journey, and that's support in itself. You know, I think before I was seeking out in the world kind of approval, or looking to get validated, or looking for connection because I wasn't connecting with myself. And it's like once that piece was able to get healed, I'm able to resonate out in the world from a whole place. And yeah, it's just a whole different thing. So that's my 2 cents on sobriety. There was one other thing, but I gotta go in here to this Starbucks and pick up this order. Uber is doing great. It's Sunday morning. It's like hailing out, so I think people are like wanting to stay home and just have food brought to them. And I don't know, but I haven't been on Uber Eats for a while, and they are coming through with the $10, and thank you, Uber. I'm having fun on my Sunday morning.